Welcome back. Good to have you with us on BBC News. The latest headlines for you. In a major victory for Donald Trump, Amy Coney Barrett is confirmed as a justice on the US Supreme Court. She took her oath of office at a ceremony at the White House. She stressed the importance of judicial independence. Let's stay with that story now and speak to Michael McConnell. He's director of the Constitutional Law Centre at Stanford Law School. I know also that you served as a circuit judge on the US Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. Thank you very much for your time. What do you expect from her? There is a history, isn't there, of Supreme Court judges turning out perhaps less conservative or less progressive than presidents might have hoped when they appointed them.
Well, yes. When nominations are made, at least by Republican presidents, there are always these dire warnings that this is going to lead to some kind of an apocalypse, and it never happens. And one of the main reasons for that is that conservative jurisprudence is actually a kind of go slow jurisprudence. So I wouldn't expect, major immediate changes.
She has some pretty big questions coming up, though, doesn't she? She and the other justices. I'm just looking at the list. Healthcare, same-sex marriage, abortion, climate change, possibly deciding who the next president is.
Well, that's an odd list. It is true there's a healthcare case coming up, but one which has very weak arguments, so I don't think there's going to be much there. The court is not going to decide the election. It will, of course, have to decide legal questions having to do with procedures and counting and so forth. But they've been doing that now, for about the last month. And I think the court, even though, it does have a clear Republican appointed majority already, but they've been very judicious, taking some cases going one way, going both ways, depending upon the merits of the particular case.
I'm sure the concerns that some people have, and of course the joy that other people have in her appointment. She tried to address quite a lot of the concerns, didn't she, with those lines in her speech. It is the job of a judge, she said, to resist her policy preferences. It would be a dereliction of duty to give in to them. But there will certainly be voters who are disappointed in her expression.
Well, of course there will. We're a divided country, as is normal in a democracy.
What are the chances, do you think, of the Democrats pushing back against all this if they win the presidency, if they win the Senate? Is it likely, do you think, that they will try and bring more justices onto the court? Is it likely they might bring in term limits for those who are sitting already?
Well, term limits I actually think is a very good idea. I wish we had them, but they would be unconstitutional. The Constitution's pretty clear that justices serve for good behavior, which means life. I don't think that's going to happen. Increasing the number of justices, which is what we call court packing, is constitutional, but it is the current size has been around for 150 years. The last time a president tried that, Franklin Roosevelt tried it. He had a large majority of his own party in Congress, and even then he was handed his hat because it's so obviously contrary to any idea of an independent judiciary. The notion that whenever a president has a Congress of the same party, that they just add new justices to make cases come out the way they want is so offensive to the way we do business in the United States. It's really an anti-constitutional move. I'm not saying it's unconstitutional. I'm just saying it's subversive of the very idea of constitutional government. I don't think it's going to happen. Joe Biden has been cagey. He's refused to say whether he's for it or not, but that's because he has a certain wing of his party that will be very disappointed if he says no. But I don't think he's going to be the kind of person to blow up our constitutional system just for some partisan advantage on the courts.
Michael McConnell, very interesting to talk to you. Thank you very much.